Nation. The hobby is the people. Weekly news and interviews. It's your number one source. Sports Card Nation. The hobby is the people. Sports Card Nation.
Welcome to another stocked and loaded episode of the Sports Card Nation podcast, the show that brings you all the important hobby news, discussions, debates, opinions, info, and interviews with key hobby and sports dignitaries. Also, if you're good, you know we are going to give away something. Now, here's the guy that wanted the cards more than the gum. John Newman.
What is up? Welcome to episode 146. Back again, Yamwax, to complete our conversation we had. Great conversation today. We're going to talk about Fanatics deal. Yam's got, I call it a talent where he can kind of see a little bit ahead or he can predict some trends. So we'll get his take on the Fanatics deal. But we're going to talk about some other things, some wrestling cards. Not that I know anything about those, but we're going to talk about that amongst other things. And again, always great talking with Corey on all variety topics. He's well versed, and it's always a pleasure talking hobby with him. And we went long, so rather than make one big episode, I made two, I guess you call them normal sized ones. So today's the completion of that. Had a good weekend. Went to Cooperstown, New York. I was invited by Mark Hoyle. Some of you may know him from social media. Huge Red Sox guy, and he goes about once a year with a group of folks, and it was great hanging with that group. Big, about between 10 and 14 of us at any given time. We did breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it was just great conversating about the hobby, about life, about sports, walking through the hall, seeing the new plaques, and picked up a few things going through the card stores, and it was a fun day. We got up early, got home late, but we do it no regrets. Had a blast, and hopefully it's something we can do every year. But since I'm talking about that too, if you're ever going to be going to Cooperstown, and I know you pretty well, let me know when you're going to be there. Maybe we can even meet up and do lunch or something like that. I apparently missed it when I was there last time, but Dr. Beckett's picture and bio is in the Cardboard Treasures or Shoebox Treasures section of the hall. That was pretty cool. I actually sent it to him. He knows about it, but just in case. And I actually texted my son from there, who got to be interviewed on the Father's Day show, and he got a kick out of it too. So pretty cool. And again, the hall is a great place. I'm very fortunate to live very close to it, so it allows me to get there probably more often than not. Also, happy to announce we sponsored Sports Card Nation, a digital page on the National Baseball Hall of Fame's website. You can sponsor a page for the year, and they have plenty of pages available digital, so if you go to the website, we sponsored the Jackie Robinson Story movie page, and so that's a pretty cool thing. And so if you go to the Jackie Robinson Story movie page on the National Baseball Hall of Fame site, you'll see something, a little quote I wrote, and you'll see it says this page is sponsored by Sports Card Nation podcast. And so it has to be a Jackie page if we're going to sponsor a National Baseball Hall of Fame page. It's got to be Jackie. So fortunate to do it, and hope to just keep doing that every year, and kind of fun to be involved with that. if you live close to the hall, take advantage of some of the member packages where it's a lot cheaper and you can go pretty much all year for one price as well. So with that being said, had a great weekend, but let's get episode 146 going. All right, here to do this week's new release product schedule. Texas Card Dude, Brad Bethune, and I just want to remind you, if you're interested, we're looking for volunteers. So if you enjoy the show and you want to hear yourself on it, you want to give us the rundown each week of what's coming out to rip, get a hold of me. Let me know you're willing to do it. It does not pay well, and the food is lousy, but I'm looking for volunteers. So Brad, take it away.
Saddle up, everybody. It's your Texas Card Dude, and we've got 10 products to drop. 3 baseball, 2 hockey, 2 football, and 3 basketball. Hey, didn't Giannis win his ring already? Oh, never mind. Let's move forward. If you listen to this on Friday, 9/24, that's today the day has dropped. You're also dropping 2020-2021 Pro Set Memories Hockey. 4 packs per box, 10 boxes per case. This showcases 1990, 91, 91, 92, 92, 93 Pro Set hockey styles. 2 autos and 2 original buybacks per pack with serial numbered parallels. Thank you, Brian, for the memories. It's greatly appreciated. Also on 9/24, you're going to get 2020 Onyx Vintage Basketball. Autograph heavy checklist and its hardwood debut. I've been looking forward to this ever since Lance told me it was coming out. 4 cards per box, 2 on-card basketball autos per box, 24 boxes per case. This is a sick vintage look. Love me some Onyx. Thank you, Lance. On Wednesday, 9/29, 2020-2021 Panini Draft Picks Chronicles Basketball. It's the first time college basketball is introduced to Chronicles, or Chronicles is introduced to basketball. 13 different base sets, diversity, design, all over the place, man. All over the place. 2 relics, 2 autos per hobby box. You're getting Donruss rated rookie, Optic rated rookies, Gala, Hoops Tribute, Prestige. Just a mishmash of everything. Love me some Chronicles. 6 set here, guys. Also on Wednesday, 2021 Obsidian Basketball. Dark take on Optichrome. This is a 6 set that I love every year. 1 pack per box with 7 cards, 2 signatures, and a hobby box. This stuff is sick. I absolutely love it every year. Also, sticking with Wednesday, 2020-2021 OPG Platinum Hockey. Yes. 20 cards per box, 4 cards per pack, total 80 cards. Very nice. Very, very nice. 200 card base set, 150 vets, 50 rookies, 13 different parallels, but 10 of them are serial numbered. Man, get ready to collect those parallels. As well, 2021 Bowman Sterling Baseball. 5 packs per box, 6 cards per pack. You're getting 30 cards with this. 100 card set, 9 parallels, all of them numbered, and 1 auto per pack. 1 auto per pack. Then you've got Sterling Perception, which has the stars in their Bowman First designs. 6 numbered parallels. I'm looking forward to seeing the Bowman First designs. I'm very looking forward to it. We're coming down the home stretch on Friday, 10/1. God, is it already October? Good grief. Wild Card Mat Football. Man, if you haven't seen this yet, this is some good stuff. Mega boxes are coming out 10/1. Panini, Spectra, baseball. Oh, I love Spectra. I love Spectra. Pro Set Metal Football. If you saw the metal hockey, I can only imagine what metal football looks like. And then Topps Gold Label Baseball. Wait, no basketball. What? Oh, never mind. So that's it. That's the wrap up. I appreciate you letting me invade your space. I appreciate you letting me get a couple minutes of your time. Hey guys, support your local LCSs, support your local hobby stores, support your local card shops, support your local card shows. Be kind to one another. I'm your Texas Card Dude. I'm out. John, take it away.
We love our listeners. Without you, there is no us. We care about your opinions and feedback and invite you to reach out to us on any of our social media accounts. On Instagram at Sports Card Nation Podcast, Twitter at SportsCardNati1, or email the show at sportscardnationpc@gmail.com. We don't ask for much, but if you really like the show, give us a shout out. Tell your friends or give us a follow on our social medias. If you enjoy the show, please give us a positive review on iTunes or any of the platforms you are listening on. Thank you.
Answer my question! The question!
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
We are renaming the segment Ask Me Anything, where I'll take your questions. It can even be off topic, keep it clean. But today I want to answer a question that I got about I don't know what it was this week, but I got 2 or 3 people either asking me my take on it or kind of asking me my take and giving theirs. And that's, what do I think of eBay comps as sort of the standard by how we price stuff. And so first off, it is probably right now the number one go-to. You know, when you see everyone pull out their phone at a card show or even at home or their computer, usually the first place they're checking is eBay sold comps. But there's a lot of other analytics tools that do similar things. TerraPeak, which is actually eBay. I don't know if it still exists because now eBay has a new tool as well. You got Market Movers, Card Ladder. I'm sure I'm leaving someone out, not on purpose. You got the Beckett price guides. You know, I had a gentleman I spoke to in a DM was saying that, you know, for vintage he uses them, but for current stuff he goes to the comp. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. That's not literally, but figuratively. And so, you know, and even with eBay comps, this is the one thing. To me, it's not the end-all, be-all. I've bought stuff under eBay comps. I do that quite a bit as a dealer. I've even bought stuff for more than eBay comps. I wanted the item or items bad enough. I paid more, and with the assumption that it may be going up even past what I paid for, let's say. But they're just, whatever tool you use, whether it's analytics or the comps from eBay, remember, it's just a guideline. It's like a Kelly Blue Book, right? For cars, you can pay under that Blue Book price. You know, you can pay more than that Blue Book guideline. And same thing again with whether it's an eBay comp or an analytical tool. There's more than one way to figure out stuff, and none of them are the end all be all. Even before analytics tools, even before eBay came along, where Beckett was king of the price guys, and deservedly so. They put together a great team and were really on top, had their finger on the pulse and on top of the marketplace. That too was just a guide. It says it right in the title, right? Beckett Price Guide. It's just a guideline. Again, whatever you're willing, what someone willing to pay or sell an item for, is that price, at least in the moment. And these are all just guidelines, whichever ones you choose to be a fan of. So, sort of a fuzzy answer, if you will. But eBay pretty much the standard. Let's be real. But they're not the only game in town either. Let's be real there as well. So there you go. It's time for the Hobby What's Up, where we go around the hobby world and tell you all the latest news and breaking stories from the hobby we love.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up? What's up?
All right, let's talk about this week in hobby news. Loop new shop in Miami is open, new card store, but they're going to do a lot of different things in there. Looks very clean. I haven't been there, but the pictures I've seen. On our next episode of Breaking Cardboard, little tease, they may or may not be involved on that show. We'll see. That'll be, I believe, October 10th is the date there. In the don't check out on players too soon department, three guys really kind of starting to really hit. Gavin Lux, Jared Kellenick, and Luis Robert. Again, it's early yet. They can go back the other way too. But, guy gets hurt, has early struggles. People will bail. I think that's too soon. I think these guys are showing that. Again, very light test results, but they're showing they can hit in this league at some point. So can they be consistent? That's what we need to see. Panini allegedly in a little bit of the hot seat. They have been accused of taking public art, other people's work, and using it in their downtown inserts and parallels. I saw the pictures. While it's not exact, I can see where the artist is coming from. So a lot of just accusations and posts so far. We'll have to wait and see if there's any litigation or some sort of parties can come to agreement before it gets to that stage. But man, you like to think in today's card art world, there's plenty of artists that the companies would pay someone to do the work, even with this show and the logos we have for this show. Not to compare myself to Panini, Topps, or any other card company, but we have logos and artwork involved in the show, and I can't draw a stick figure, but I had to pay someone who can, and so we do, and hopefully hopefully the right thing is done and people are compensated as they should be. All right, PWCC, we don't have to rehash the eBay stuff. Most of us know about that, but the first class action lawsuit has been filed by a Gregory Latham from New Orleans in the amount of $25 million in damages. Now, this is a class action lawsuit for those unfamiliar. That means anybody involved or feels like they too have been wronged by the alleged shill bidding, they can become part of this class action suit. So this is not necessarily one person files it, but it's not necessarily one person against PWCC. So those that feel like they've been wronged or hurt by the alleged actions of PWCC, they can get in on this $25 million lawsuit. Now, the person, Gregory Latham from New Orleans, his purchase was a $243 Eddie Collins card. Seems a little bit extreme to file this kind of lawsuit with that kind of card, but I guess, if you do the crime, then you can file the lawsuit if PWCC has done this. So, again, we'll see. This is not the first time they've been accused of it, and we'll see. This is the first lawsuit that I'm aware of, and we'll see where this goes, especially being a class action lawsuit, meaning others can opt into this as well, and this thing can get to be a bigger story. So we'll have to watch that with bated breath. All right, this seems to be a weekly occurrence, and unfortunately it is. And tired of talking about it, but we have to. So I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago I reported about the armed robbery in Altoona, Pennsylvania at the Waniata card store. That person has been apprehended. They are 51 years old. Their name is Jason Hodges. When asked why that shop that he robbed, he basically said he remembers buying cards there 20 years ago, and that's why he went there. Tried to flee on bike, no such luck. And when asked, why did you burglarize, why'd you arm rob the place and for the money, what your deal was, he said he needed to buy Halloween decorations. That's the world we live in, folks. People are arm robbing card stores for Halloween decorations. Now, some more unfortunate stories. Jimmy Mahan's store, the Kentucky Roadshow card shop, not the first time, was robbed again overnight. They broke in and took some wax. And again, they're not one of the nicest guy in this hobby, and no one deserves to be robbed, but definitely he's the last one on the list. And liked a post he made where he says not going to change who he is, might have to change what they do store-wise with protection and security, but he's still going to, this hobby's still great, and he's still going to do, generous things. And that Jimmy in a nutshell. So check out his social medias. He's posted a pic of the perpetrator. Maybe you recognize him potentially and can bring this person to justice. And this story, I'm not going to lie, I read on Sports Card Daily and didn't hear about it. And this is Southpaw Sports Cards. You may have heard me talk about this card store on my show, not in a positive fashion for reasons I can't all state. We have one card store really in Syracuse, and it's Southpaw Sports Cards. I know the owner. I've known him. He was in business when I was in business in the 90s, and really never on the same page, but that does not matter. They were burglarized 3 times, unbeknownst to me, even though I'm less than 5 miles away from their store. They were robbed and burglarized in May, August, and then again in September at 3:15 a.m. They had $35,000 worth of merchandise taken. It was smashed the front door with a sledgehammer deal. They have apprehended these subjects, Jarvis Roberts from Syracuse, and 2 people from Brooklyn. Dwight Del Fayette and John Allen of Brooklyn, New York, have been arrested for the 3 burglaries. They kept coming back to Southpaw, and they did surveillance, and that's how they caught them the 3rd time. Literally in the act, they were caught red-handed. So, we're hearing a lot about these card store burglaries, robberies, and frankly, it's because of it being in the forefront financially and money-wise, and now you got, regular news, cable, broadcast about the money in the hobby. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but it's probably shining more light that these things are assets that can be liquefied into cash, and whether it's to buy Halloween decorations or drugs or alcohol or something else, people are viewing card stores as, in a sense, banks, with the cards and wax products being viewed as cash, and in a sense they are. And if you own a store, there's days I miss my stores, everyone that I had, and definitely miss it some days. And then when I hear all these reports, those are the things I don't miss, or things that I would have to worry about if I opened the store. We're hearing about this almost every day now. So we're almost getting to the point where it's really par for the course, and that's not a good thing to get sort of desensitized to that. So if you're listening out there and do have a card store, protect yourself. I'm wishing you the best, so I don't know I don't know the answer, but, get security systems. There's all sorts of things you can put on doors and windows. I'm a New York City kid. I remember, they still do it. The big rails that come down, the big, almost like a garage door that comes down over windows and entryways. So hopefully we, these things curtail some, but I got a feeling that's not going to be the case. So.
Iron Sports Cards is your #1 source for all your PSA and other grading submissions. Their elite status improves turnaround times. Heck, they even provide the card savers. Their chat rooms provide updates on all your submissions. They also offer wax options and single cards to cover all the bases. Check them out on Facebook at Iron Sports Cards Group, or on the web at ironsportscards.com, or even give them a call at 1-877-IRON-PSA. Rob's got you covered.
Sports Card Nation, it's now time to chop it up with our featured guest on the one-of-one card shop guest line. Let's go!
Okay, here is the remainder of the audio from myself and Corey Donovan, the interview we conducted. Again, it was a longer one, so I cut it into two halves, and this is the completion of the first half that you heard last week. Enjoy.
We talked about weird cards and stuff. So this is a wrestling card. This is I got into wrestling cards quite a bit too, because I went back to my youth in the 80s. 80s for me was all about TV dinner, playing sports and stuff as a kid, but collecting baseball cards, but also watching wrestling on Sunday mornings and Saturday mornings, eating TV dinners, all that stuff. But going into the 90s, Stone Cold Steve Austin obviously was a big star along with The Rock, but his rookie actually comes from Argentina as well. It's from a set called Chromie, and I ended up buying, and this is kind of a good tip for non-sport, is rather than like focusing on the individual card where you might have to spend $1,000, $2,000 to pick up this card, I bought a full set of the 1991 Chromie. It's a game set, like a card game. And that was like $500, got this graded. And, now I got a much better value for myself that way to get myself into, a Stunning Steve Austin card. So before he was Stone Cold, he was known as Stunning Steve. And this was like a game set out of Argentina. And so that was like a neat way to pick that one up, to go with. I kind of have a collection of Stone Cold Steve Austin cards now to go with my Rock collection. And then, of course, Andre the Giant, some of those old guys that I grew up watching. But the game card thing is, like, the Elon Musk card or the Lady Gaga card, those are both game cards as well. You talk about game cards, like, even if they, in the case of like the Elon, we know they only ever made 3,000 of those, but how many end up at camps? How many end up in families where the kids are tearing them apart? They'll never surface again. So if you can get some of those old game cards, it's a, fun way to go. And then talk about another card that's, I think kind of surprised some people in terms of beating some of the other cards, was a Beyonce. There's a 2003 game card from Smash Hits that has a 2003 Beyonce rookie. It's a game card, but there's also like 2000 SI swimsuit Beyonce cards that some people are collecting. Those are cool too, but this one beats it by 4 years. So there's and I have some of these on the way to PSA right now to be graded. So
Well, that's a good segue. You mentioned a card I wanted to talk about. I'm proud to say and honored and thank you again to have one of what I call it the Elon Musk 50. You sent me that a few months ago. You acquired, you just talked about the top Trump Elon Musk. Well, classified as the rookie card. You had them all graded. Mine is a 9.5, and then you I know you kept a few, I believe, and then you sent out the other. They're all blockchained, and you kind of gave me a heads up. Hey, and one thing I loved what you did about it. It's easy. I don't want to say it's easy. No, it's not easy, but you can mail someone a card, send someone a card, but you also, all these are blockchain and numbered, and the people you gave certain numbers, there's a method behind your madness. And in my case, it was 42 for obviously Jackie Robinson, and the thought process, to be that thoughtful to give someone a card like that, but even with the whole blockchain number, what the significance of the numbering to go to that level with it. I want to have the man himself sort of talk about the story behind that, how you either acquire, if you can, how you acquired them, and what made you come up with that giving that people to. I know a lot of content creators and the such, and then I know I think you just recently did one at charity auction, so definitely talk about that as well. I'll shut up and listen to you.
Sure. No, I was, of course, had to include you in that, and know, your great affinity for Jackie Robinson is that we share as well, of course. Yeah. And so 42 had to go your way, John. And so the thought process initially, this kind of was inspired out of that. I had this. I'm not an NFT guy, really. I've never, even though I'm kind of dabbling in the space, not buying but creating. Is that it didn't make a lot of sense to me. It's like I can see it. I can see like how it could happen with my kid playing Fortnite, and like he values these digital things so much, buying skins and all that stuff, right? But I'm like, how are us regular guys going to get there? There's got to be some kind of bridge. And so in my mind, I'm thinking like, I don't know where that bridge is going to come, but I think it's going to be what's called phygital, meaning like digital and physical, some kind of transition there. And so I thought, well, maybe the grading companies could be that point where. Now,
did you just invent that word, or did you hear that?
Ivan from Watch the Breaks is the one that cued me into it, but evidently it's a real word that people use. Okay. Phygital. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm going with it.
I like it. I was going to give you credit. Like if anyone else says it, you got to pay Yamwax some dough. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, like Pat Riley and the the three-peat. So no, so it was like possibly it'd be the grading companies that could create that point where they're already taking pictures of cards. When say SGC grades your card, they send you a picture. Yeah. Well, what if they sent you just an NFT that said, hey, here's your title to the card? And I'm like, I don't think the grading companies are going to be, I don't trust them to experiment with this anytime in the next year or two. It's probably years away to them even thinking about doing that. And I'm not even sure they can licensing wise in the future. It might actually be the manufacturers that create those NFTs. We'll see what happens, right? Who knows if even, Fanatics, we can talk about that in a minute, but whether they'll grade their own cards, and then it'd be easy for them to create the NFTs with them. But I'm like, well, I'm going to look for a rookie card, what I consider a rookie card of some kind that nobody has ever graded before. Like, I occasionally do discover these things where I could create something where I could create the experiment. Why don't I try it? So I did find, again, kind of through the help of a friend, and gifted them the actual number 1 out of 50. He's a private collector, so I've kept his name private. But he got one of the Elons because he's the one like, hey, have you seen this Elon Musk Top Trumps card? I don't think there's any other Elon Musk cards. And there were kind of some, like, again, Garbage Pail Kids and some like art cards and stuff. But I'm like, no, I hadn't seen that. And like, they're none graded by anyone. I thought, this is it. This is the card. And I went and I just bought right from their website before they had sold out. They've had it for sale for a couple of years now, since 2019. But that must have been right at the end of their product run. And I just made an order for 84 of them. And I took the best 50 out. I opened up all the packages. I've got the game card set right here. This one is one that I've, of course, opened and pulled all the Elons out, graded the 50 best, and then I numbered them in the order that they were graded. And so while they're out for grading, I started making my list, John, like thinking of all the people I appreciate, people creating content, creating community, creating platforms, and then the handful of collectors that have really been integral in like helping me, even if they're private. So a few went to private collectors, and then I gave away all of them. The only one I kind of kept went to my son, but it really is like his. It's in his room, and he knows it's his and everything. So basically all were gifted. And he's like, I appreciate him as much as anyone, my little guy, because he's the one that pulled me back in. So he had to get one for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I numbered them. And this is like one of the last ones that I have on hand. It's number 26 out of 50. That's the one I'm still trying to get to Elon Musk himself. And that designates 2026, the year that he plans to get to Mars. It's an audacious goal, but I really respect people that set audacious goals like that. So it'd be neat if, this ended up in his estate or museum or whatever. Yeah. And then the NFT thing was for the learnings. So it was a really neat experience to create these NFTs, to be able to learn how to do that, how to gift them. They're all royalty free, gas free. So I make nothing off this project. It's all about giving back, showing appreciation, and then learning a ton. So we'll see what's next. I learned some NFT stuff, and now I'm kind of, playing around with the next step ideas with some of that stuff. But, it was just a great experience.
Yeah, and super generous and unselfish of you, I might add. I know you might not say it, but I'll say it on your behalf. And 42, I know it's not on screen here. I have to post something on social media, but 42 of said card is in this acrylic case that sits on my desk. I see it every day, and it's a reminder every day of the greatness of the hobby, the great people we have in it, such as yourself, that are giving not just with material things, but with information, knowledge, and an advocate and an ambassador. 2 words I like to use. I think it's important to be those for others, and you embody that. And again, I thank you. And someone asked me, Corey, hey, that car, I saw that listed at this, and you should sell it. And I'm like, no, that was given to me. I don't believe it. I joked even with you, even if I ever had thought of doing something like that, I would talk to you, and I still, even though you gave it to me, I still feel you're a part of that card. And so, it's not listed anywhere. I just did a show this weekend, and it was still in the desk case here, and that's where it will stay, and means a lot to me. And you kind of hinted it was coming, but kind of opened that package up and getting it, seeing the 42 blockchain registry on it, and the thought process there even made it all the more special to me. And those stories, again, it's those kind of things I don't care what eBay says or what this person says. You can't put a price on certain things, and that's one of those type of cards. And at least for me, and I appreciate it. I love it. It's it speaks to who you are, which is a generous, great person who thinks about others, and I try to do that myself, and I think we need more of that. We have a lot of people doing it, but can never have enough. So it's a great example.
It's a great hobby.
Yep, it is. Take a quick break and hear from our friends at Moco Sports in Michigan. The Gocher family doing great things as their shop does very well. Let's hear from them.
The Sports Card Shop is your small-town local card shop with a global reach. Located in New Buffalo, Michigan, the shop is one of the most accessible in the Midwest. In addition to being an authorized Panini direct dealer, the Sports Card Shop carries all major trading card brands, including Topps, Upper Deck, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and more. With all that new wax, 500,000 singles, and showcases full of graded cards, you're sure to find something great for your collection, whether you're just starting out or a seasoned collector. The Sports Card Shop is your one-stop shop. So call us, come see us, or visit us on the web and social media. Our phone number is 269-469-0140. Website is thesportscardshop@moco.com. The Sports Card Shop is part of the Moco Retail Group, connecting sports, the hobby, and people around the world.
back with Yamwax.
And I wanted to say something with that, like going back to that 1997 Tomy Pokemon cards I gave out, like none of that works. Like none of spreading your enthusiasm works if you're not authentic about it. Like I really did love the art of these cards. I love the rarity of them. I love the chase of trying to, you had to find them in Japan and like really scour to find these. So it was like that. I actually thought they were that interesting, and I had a good, I had a story that I thought was good with sharing with my friends. And, of course, like I bundled in the NFT and and graded all these cards and everything. That's neat. But if I actually am enthusiastic about collecting tech entrepreneurs. And I think Elon Musk is going to be a really important person, love him or hate him, an incredibly important person of this generation. And I like the aesthetic of the card. It's also all that also lends to it. But I'll say if the card ever does, if this is seen as part of an important, not important, but just happens to be thought of as an early NFT card project and people do really well on it, I'll be ecstatic for you, John. And if you get that outcome somewhere years down the road, but I appreciate that. And the feedback has been awesome. So you'd mentioned the one that went to auction. I completely donated that. Ken Golden, of course, is so important. Again, love him or hate him or whatever. He's so important at selling our hobby, right? I know people have a lot of opinions.
No, it's true.
They do. But he's out there pitching on CNBC and Fox Business and on
he's
ESPN.
Ambassador.
He's got a show coming up.
Right?
He's
Ambassador.
So important.
Yep.
Yeah, ambassador, and he's on the phone with people. I mean, I think people take that for granted too, like how much he's on the phone with these really
on the
high
show with me, and so he's made time for this show. I can't knock him there. And he's a great ambassador. But go ahead, I know you put one of those on his. Golden's auctions, but go ahead and tell that story.
He would be someone who I would like to include in this project, but I didn't know that an Elon Musk rookie card is something that fit in Ken's collection of Babe Ruth cards and stuff. Like a lot of other big collectors got them, appreciate it, but I thought these are people who had fun with them. I didn't know that read about Ken, but I'm as I was thinking about it, I kept putting Ken on the list and then taking him off. And ultimately I'm you know what? I'm going to grade one with PSA because, again, it's important to me to make sure a card can be graded. So I wanted to get at least one to pay to get one graded, and I had to Super Express it at the time because that was all that was open. Yeah. And so I wanted to make sure I paid to just prove this is a legit card, get it graded at PSA. So I had that one card. It was the 51st ever graded because I graded those first 50 of them with SGC just due to cost and time and everything, right? But the 51st one, I'm well, this one doesn't have an NFT attached to it, but I'll gift it to Ken as a consignment. I gave it to him at the National. Ken actually, he has, I still need to bug him to find out which charity it went to, but he said he was picking a charity for the proceeds to go to. And that sold for, I think, just over $1,200. Wow. Proceeds going to charity. And that's what it's all about. It's hey, let's do this for something good. I've got this. I kind of consider it the end of the project. I want something to go to Ken. And this is a fun way to do it.
Yeah, and like you said, a lot of people are going to, depending on what charity, if it's a charity, it's going to go to a good cause and help somebody out. And that's, again, paying it forward. And I'm a karma guy. I don't know if you are. I think you might be, but I believe in it. Some people might say you're silly, John. It's just a 5-letter word. But I'm a karma guy, and I think that stuff comes back around. I don't think you should do it necessarily for those reasons, but I believe in it, and I think it's a good thing. And you got a lot of karma coming your way, and believe it or not. So awesome stuff. And we're coming kind of down the stretch here. I want to just briefly. I won't rehash everything. And by now, everyone's pretty much aware of the Fanatics licensing with the. Baseball, football, and basketball. Upper Deck at the moment is still going to remain hockey. I hope that does stay that way as well. Just a couple minutes from, and the reason I definitely want to hear your take on it, Corey, is just because you seem to really, I don't know if you have some sort of crystal ball you're not telling anyone about. You kind of see these trends and things a little bit ahead of the curve, if you will. We all know what's transpired so far, but how do you think this sort of plays out? The nice thing about answering this question is there's really no wrong answer. It's your opinion. So, how do you see, what do you think happens here in the next few years and maybe even past that point?
Yeah, well, I will start out with that just to say that, of course, none of us know. Any guesses we're making are almost sort of
All
ridiculous at this
speculation.
point. No inside information, no anything like that. Of course, I'm just a guy in the hobby like everybody else. But I have a business background, so I love thinking about strategy of those things, and it's really neat. We're going to have so many Harvard case studies that are going to come out of the hobby just over these last 2 years, right? Like from the PSA shutdown. I mean, this might be a Harvard course about how Fanatics took over
business during the pandemic, how a hobby went through the crash through the ceiling while other businesses went the other way. Unfortunately, there's so many things that can be dissected, if you will, on a business scale. So, but go ahead.
So I'll take this from a couple of aspects. One, which is just like my gut feeling and kind of where things will go. And then two, why this isn't necessarily bad for the hobby. We don't know for sure, but I'd like to take the optimistic viewpoint that, it could be good. So let's just play with that for a minute. But my guess is that the way everyone thought the way into the card market was going to be to buy Panini. We heard about Alex Rodriguez, maybe forming up a SPAC to come in and buy Panini. Well, that all blew up when the licenses went kaput in the future for Panini and Topps. And that would have been a multi, I don't know, $5-6 billion takeover. I'm not quite sure what that number would be. A lot of cash. The end around on it, this amazing, whether it's conniving or whatever you think about it, it really was an incredible execution from a business stance, is to go in and collect all these licenses all at once, and to not even have anyone else at the other companies and the investors to be aware of it is incredible. It blows my mind that not more.
I almost think they almost, maybe not right away, but years from now, it would be a great movie how all these working parts did this and never got out, and they pulled it off. Whether you like the deal or you, like you said, or you don't like the deal, the fact that they could pull it's like Ocean's whatever number 12 or 13. Everyone had a different. Let's go in. You have the ID card. You scan it. I'll knock the guard out. We'll meet back here. Don't get hit by any of the red lasers, and nothing went off. No alarm bells. I hate to say it like this, but Topps Panini never, at least they're saying they had no idea this was going on. And then, everyone met back at the hotel room and divvied up briefcases and went on their merry way. Now, I'm using dramatics there, but it has that sort of feel like a caper, right? Everyone, they pulled it off, right? I'm sure even themselves, Corey, hey, this is what we got to do. This has to stay QT. Don't tell your wife that we're having these discussions. Don't tell your cousin. Don't even sleep talk. Put duct tape over your mouth when you're sleeping. I mean, all sorts of, to not have one person. All it takes is one person to screw this up. You could have 10 people involved, 100 people involved, 5 people involved. It only takes one person to slip on a banana peel, and then the cat's out of the bag. And
the team was there. I just want to say, hey, to the Fanatics team, to Luber, to those guys, if you're looking for a guy to be in the inner circle, I did not spill the beans on John's show. And I did not, even tell my kids at the arcade at the birthday party that I was going to get to interview Dr. Beckett. So,
and I'll vouch just for a consulting role. I'll vouch for Corey on that as well. So
no, let's call it Ocean's 24. I was going to go 23 because it's such a GOAT number in sports, but 24. These guys are Philly guys, and that's where Kobe Bryant is from Philly, and I know Josh Luber himself played him in high school, so. We'll go back to their Philly roots called Ocean's 24. But
another quick break, but we'll be right back with more with Corey Donovan.
Hey everybody, have you heard about Collectible? It's the one-stop shop where any collector can buy and trade affordable shares in some of the most rare and valuable sports cards and memorabilia in the world, starting from just $5. From 1952 Mickey Mantle PSA 10s and Wilt Chamberlain's iconic rookie uniform to one-of-one Patrick Mahomes RPAs, rare LeBron James logo mats, and everything in between, Collectible is creating never-before-seen access and opportunities for investing in the hobby. Just download the app and sign up with the referral code SCN to get your first share free. Please note this is not a recommendation or solicitation to buy any security. all investment decisions should be undertaken after doing your own research.
Welcome back. Here's more with Corey.
I think the end around is to buy Tops and Upper Deck. I mean, Upper Deck is pretty heavily. Chris Carlin just came out and said, like, we're not even like thinking about that. We're not talking to anybody.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. We got a few years to go. Maybe it's not both, maybe it's one or the other, but I think some of those brands are going to get acquired, and they're going to be able to create card brands and bring on teams. I think the teams are as important as the brands, but I think to us as collectors, having a legacy of the brands is really important. But if they don't, I mean, they'll hire great designers and people and create new brands. But I have a feeling it's going to be like Tops and or Upper Deck. And maybe eventually acquire some Panini brands, because Panini's not going away. They're going to want to continue, I'm guessing, to keep making all the other niches that they're in that Fanatics hasn't acquired. But we'll see what happens. But again, I'm all guessing. Apologies to those people at those companies, because I think really care about them. Of course, distribution is this huge question. I think we're going to see a lot of things possibly at least be experimented with coming under Fanatics roof, from direct distribution platforms. Possibly grading. Cards come out and you can have them graded. You can have them put right on their platform, never even receive them. That sounds crazy, but a lot of us are doing that already. We're getting cards, having them sent to a vault and then selling them from there, maybe keeping them for years and then selling them. But many cards aren't in our hands anymore. So it's going to be wild to see where that all goes. I think that's enough to touch on with that. But where I'm optimistic about it, where I think, we're like, it sucks to have a monopoly, right? They own not just everything in one sport. And we were already kind of upset about that, like where Panini, had the basketball license and no one else could make licensed basketball cards, et cetera. And now they can make it for almost every major sport. Like, this doesn't sound good. Well, I guess I ask you to look back at, say, like those 50s Tops sets and artistry. Yeah, there was Bowman and there were some different brands and stuff, but I don't think the competition was important there. I don't even think like the cards were as important to the market. And those guys were selling gum. The cards were a bonus, right? Yeah. But it's about pride, and it's about execution and leadership. I think, again, it's rumored that Josh Luber is going to run this division, but the rumors are pretty strong. I think like that's somebody who really cares about cards. He has a vast collection of sports and non-sport cards too. And he really cares about design. I can tell he's into art just based on his Instagram page. He's regularly collaborating with artists, supporting artists, and I love to see that. And so I think like you can have great design and innovation especially, come out of just like we need to show pride. But competition is still there too, John. You have they're going to be competing with other products in the marketplace. We see NFTs rising right now. Josh knows well enough that there are people that will go and collect shoes or whatever the next collectible du jour item could be, right? I hope to God it's not VHS tapes, because that type of media was the worst. But in my experience as someone who grew up with VHS, I hated using VHS tapes. But anyway, that's an aside.
Well, I hope it is, because I got like 3 giant boxes full of them in my basement collecting some dust. So I hope that does
sealed?
blow up, because no, some of them might be, but I think the majority of them aren't. So.
I think it's the sealed stuff that people are into. I mean, I could even see like cassettes or like, of course, vinyl and some of those things blowing up. The VHS thing really surprises me, because I just do not have a positive nostalgia for that, for those things. But I hear you, man. But anyway, I think there's competition from other collectibles, and they know that they have to produce great products. They have the players involved now. They have the teams involved, and you get those groups breathing down your back if like people aren't excited about the production. And now I guess another benefit is that we do actually have a number of players, not anywhere near the majority, even like 80% of them, but there's a handful of collectors from every sport that will also, I think, continue to push. So I don't know. I think there's reason for optimism that a good company can create great products even without someone pushing them within that niche.
Yeah, I agree. I come from a sentimental angle. I'm not even saying this is right. This is just sort of sentimental. I'm a Brooklyn, New York kid, born and raised, home of Tops, and, grew up, that's how I got in with that 79 Tops pack. So the sentimental guy in me just is scared. I guess, I don't know if scared is the right word, but maybe fearful that we're going to have years without baseball cards having those 5 letters on them, the TOPPS. And I can't remember a year, and not while I've been alive, that hasn't, that's been the case. And so it's that unknown, right? So something you're not uncharted water. So you mentioned the possibilities that maybe Fanatics buys those 2 companies. I'm not opposed to it. It don't matter what I think, but I'm fine with that if it keeps those brands and companies' legacies going forward. I'll appreciate that. But I've heard other rumor, and like you said, and we both said, all of this is speculation, rumor. And, I ask everyone on in recent weeks their take on this, and none of the answers. It's like fingerprints. None of the answers are exactly the same. They might have similarities to it, which I love, because we all have different takes on it. But I'd like to see those brands survive. Maybe some people not necessarily lose their job. As someone who lost one recently myself, I know that feeling. I don't want anyone else to have to deal with that if they don't have to. And so I hope things work out for the best. I'm going to be in the hobby regardless of which way this road goes. And I'd be lying if I said it's not going to be fun and interesting to keep tabs on what's next, what story breaks next, what announcement gets released next. And, this is obviously a hot button topic, but we fail to realize, like, this is going to be 2 or 3 years before we actually get anything of real substance as far as production. This is all just the pieces are moving around on the chessboard, but the game hasn't even really sort of started yet. And so it's as someone who's been in the hobby a long time, this is the interesting part, to see what happens next. First, it was Topps and the baseball license, and then we went to basketball and football. And who knows, right? We don't know what's going to happen next. It's that edge of your seat. It's like a movie, right? It's like a cliffhanger. Like what, this part, like we jump out of our seat, like, holy smokes, that was insane, right? And then like, what's next? Because this is not the end of the movie yet. Like something else is going to happen here. And so it's that I find the most interesting. But again, the sentimental Brooklyn kid in me is hoping that the Topps legacy specifically, and Panini too, but being from Brooklyn, I have an affinity for those 5 letters. And listen, they're culpable in this too. I don't want them to be all unicorns and flowers, and they made some mistakes. I think they left that door open, obviously, for this to happen. So I'm not trying to make them out to be can't do anything wrong, but that long history, I hope gets to live on in some capacity. If it's under the Fanatics umbrella, then that's the way it's got to be, and that's the way it can be. But I hope that happens.
We have this long runway, like you mentioned, a couple of years to go, and so that's a lot of time to sit and stew and bile and worry about. Of course, if you're employed by those companies, I'm sympathetic to that, and I'm really hopeful that they do. Carry on. Those brands will carry on. That's, as a collector, that's part of my, why I'm guessing that way. Because there's a couple of different ways many different ways we could, put that conjecture out about what's going to happen. But if we have years to go, I'd like to lean on the optimistic side, because I don't have any control over it, and in the end, it's like, as a collector.
For another break, to hear from another one of our great sponsors, 101 Card Shops, doing big things in Ohio. Just had a big cornhole tournament, trade night, having a lot of the Browns players come in and do autograph appearances. Stephen family there doing a lot of big things.
What doesn't 101 Card Shop do? From box, case, and personal breaks, there's always fire being pulled. They offer bulk grading subs, and their large store located in Strongsville, Ohio, offers an incredible selection of sports cards, non-sports, and authentic autographed memorabilia. Steve and family will treat you right. Check them out on Instagram at 1of1 Card Shop or on the web at 1of1cardshop.com.
Card Nation is back with more with Yamwax.
Our good buddy Peter Pac-Man, what a great guy. He had this viral hobby video about like changes. I can't remember what it was, but some crazy change in the hobby at the time. And he just kept, I think it was just prices dropping. So, but he had this one where he kept showing signs that said like, yeah, maybe prices go down. We don't care as collectors. Prices go up. We don't care as collectors, just about, right? We just keep collecting. And so when another worry I've heard about, both in the interim with, say, Topps and Panini, maybe just overproducing, because what do they have to lose? Might as well just print a bunch while they're in this
get the money period. And run.
Yeah, and then Fanatics just being like, well, they're going to blow it up, go retail, print like crazy. Well, maybe, but we're collectors, so we'll find the avenues. We'll find the short print inserts that are fun for us to collect. Maybe we go back in time. Maybe you collect something. You're someone that likes to always open modern packs. Well, let me look at like 2017. Find something interesting. There's always avenues for collectors, and we'll find them, and we'll keep, I think, having fun, even if there are these other concerns and worries. But again, my heart goes out to those involved in the hobby whose lives are going to change. I hope that they can find a great landing spot if they don't carry forward with the new company.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll echo that. And, I remember when the news story first broke with the Topps one first, and my initial reaction, I was sort of angry. I don't even know at who, Corey, just a general feeling. And I remember I saw some, not my post, but I saw some other people on social media. If this is the way it's going to be, I'm not going to buy new cards. Some people were saying I'm just getting out fully. Some people just said I'm not going to buy any kind of Fanatics brands releases. I'll go back. And that's the thing. You can hobby any way you so choose. If I'm not going to be that guy, but the last couple of years I've sort of pivoted of heavy vintage or heavier vintage anyway. So I don't open as much of the new stuff as I once did. So it really is not when I really took a step back and like looked at the situation, I'm like, it's probably, I'm getting all worked up about it and fired up about it, but it really doesn't affect me as much as I'm making it out to be, as I've really kind of focused on some of those vintage and cards that are already been printed and going back and acquiring that stuff and more of that stuff. And I just hope, I just think as, an advocate, as an ambassador for the hobby, I consider myself those two things, that the hobby still stays, is okay in their hands, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds weird. You say in their hands, they're holding the majority of the major sport licenses. So they do control a lot of the pieces on the playing field. And so they do have a lot, they're going to have a lot of power when all these contracts come into play officially. And I hope they do the right things. I hope they have collectors, at least in the back of their minds, in some of what they decide to do, because we're the folks that are going to either support or not support their products either way. And I hope they realize that and make, with that, keep that collector's mindset in mind. You mentioned, Josh Luber is a collector. Hopefully that cream rises to the top, so to speak. And, but we see it's a lot. We've seen this hobby go the way, and it's just not just the sports card, but just business in general, right? Money talks. These are big money deals. Now the players have a seat at the table like they never did before. They have equity stake. I'm not even saying that's wrong. It's probably maybe should have happened already. It's their name and likenesses on that cardboard or chrome. I just hope that the collectors are not sort of an afterthought, and we're still trying to build and promote and produce products with them at mind too, not just the athletes and their bottom line and that sort of thing as well. There's got to be a balance, I think, between both of those worlds, the professional athlete world and the people like us who consume and purchase those products that those athletes appear on. And I think if they can do that and want to do that, make that kind of concerted effort, I think it'll be all right and even more than all right. And I hope that's what happens. I guess my fear, and like you said, to worry about it for the next 2-3 years is kind of silly, but that's how my mind works. And so I'm going to do it, and I just hope the right thing happens. And there's going to be some casualties from every kind of business decision, but I hope when all the smoke and dust settle, the smoke clears and the dust settle, I hope the casualty list is shorter rather than longer, and the hobby is still thriving and doing well and set up for continued long-term success. We're going to see. This is all speculation. We could do 2 more hours of this, and nothing's going to change in that 2 hours. It's just conversation. But I hope that's what happens. Go ahead.
One last thought is just, I'd mentioned, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do over the next 2 to 3 years to make an impact on this? Probably, we probably aren't going to have an impact. It's not up to us at the moment. But it is up to us once Fanatics does roll out, right? Like, that's where the market, we have buying power. We can go in and buy a bunch of boxes or not if we're not happy with, the way it's being distributed. Now, they may be opening up new channels and different buyers and stuff. And then, things will change. But as collectors, it's going to be on us to some level to go out and buy the products that, reward the great products that they make. And that's how we are going to have an impact. Yeah, maybe not in the interim, but once they launch, like, let's get ready to support the great products and maybe, let them know with our dollars, the practices and the products that we don't appreciate, if that's, the case.
Yeah, bingo. That's the first. Bingo. You're exactly right. I've said that. When people talk about even the grading spear, oh man, the submission prices are too much now. Stop subbing, then the prices will come down, right? So we do have that power. I think either people forget, or either one or two things. I think people don't realize it, forget, or don't care, and they just FOMO, right? I got to do it now. I don't care. Yeah, I'm supporting it, and it's me supporting it won't get any changes done, but it is what it is, kind of thing. But you hit it right on the head, Corey. We do have that power. It's just whether enough of us want to yield that stick and whack it enough, and we'll see. We'll see. Again, we got a couple years. I'm sure we'll have more discussions between now and that time, but I appreciate you sharing a lot of your insight. I value it highly. Some of that stuff you're doing, even outside the sports card realm, touched on that as well. I always give the guest, as always, the final say. Give out where people can find your social media, website, anywhere they can. You want them to find you. Give out all that stuff. Take your time.
Well, I certainly hope to find people out at card shops, sports card shows. It was amazing to spend that hour plus with you at the National over some appetizers and drinks and get to know each other face to face as the world opens up again. Keep our fingers crossed that we keep headed in that direction or re-head in that direction, that we can all meet in person, because that is the greatest when we come together with our like-minded interests. But in the meantime, I love connecting with people online. The people and the community are what it's all about for me. So I'm probably most active on Instagram, just at Yamwax, YAMWAX, and then on Twitter at Yamwax23. Somehow Yamwax is taken on Twitter. So at YamwaxIG, Yamwax23 on Twitter. And please reach out. And I love connecting with other collectors. So thanks so much, John, for having me on.
Oh man, you're welcome. And again, I'll echo that too. Meeting you in Chicago was a great experience, and that's important. I love the shows and traveling, and like you said, hopefully these numbers trend good, and we can get back to as much of that normalcy as we can. And support your local LCSs, and keep a great point as a former LCS guy myself, so love it. So again, Yam, thanks for coming on, giving you your own light here, not just as a co-pilot on another show, and appreciate you making some time for us. Keep doing what you're doing. It's very important. And you mentioned one thing you were saying, like, hey, you've had CEOs and these guys and these important people, and doesn't matter what your title is, right? We put our pants on one leg at a time. I have a 7-year-old Parker Freder King on the show. I've had my dad at 83 on the show. I've had CEOs and corporate folks, and we're all part of the hobby. Whether you're 7 or 83 or anywhere in between, we all are vital. We all are in the fraternity together. Some of us are seniors, some of us are freshmen, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're all at the same school, the same fraternity. Enjoying what we do, hopefully, and that's the main thing. And so I don't look at it like that. And glad to have you here on the show today.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's all what makes it great, John. And this was a blast, buddy. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Pastime Marketplace has a line of graded card cases that are waterproof, airtight, dust-tight, and hardened to protect and organize your valuable collection. Each of our cases come with pre-cut and pre-formed foam, so you don't have to cut and tear the foam when you get your case. The pre-cut foam inserts are sized to hold PSA, Beckett, SGC, and CGS slabs. Store it all safely and securely with a case from Pastime Marketplace. Check them out at www.pastimemarketplace.com.
All right, that's going to do it for episode 146. Want to thank, first off, Yamwax, Corey Donovan. Great conversation. Glad, always fun to talk and chat with him. Pretty enthusiastic guy, generous, just an overall good person, and knows his stuff, and doesn't do anything halfway. Gives 110%. Shares that info. A lot of guys that would do what he does would be even more secretive about it. That's not his MO, and very fortunate to have him in the hobby. Glad you made some time for us on this episode and the previous one. I want to thank you out there that listen, download to the show, no matter where you are, whether that be a subway car, your study, on your way to work in your car, doesn't matter. You give your time to the show. I see all the demographics reports. It's around the world, and I appreciate it. And not a day goes by that I don't think about that at some point. So thank you for that. So with that being said, we'll try to keep this closing short and sweet, but be good to each other. Be a good hobbyist. Always remember, the hobby is the people. Say goodnight, Kane.